Chosen One, stop what you are doing right now. I mean that with everything in me. Whatever tab you had open, whatever thought was running through your mind 30 seconds ago, whatever distraction was pulling at your attention before this moment, let it go. Because what is about to happen in the next 30 minutes of your life is not entertainment. It is not background noise. It is a message that was placed in your path today with a precision and an intentionality that your natural mind may struggle to fully comprehend. You did not find this video. This video found you. And the fact that you are sitting here in this exact moment with this exact message beginning to pour into your ears and into your spirit, that is already the first omen. That is already the first sign. And if you have been seeing signs lately, if you have been noticing things shifting around you in ways you cannot quite explain, if something in the atmosphere of your life has been changing, and you have been wondering whether it means what your spirit is telling you it means, then I need you to stay right here. Because everything you have been sensing is about to be confirmed. There is something happening around chosen ones right now that is unlike anything that has happened in recent memory. A divine realignment, a cosmic settling of accounts, a spiritual shifting of positions that is moving so quietly and so precisely that most people around you cannot even see it happening. But you can feel it. You have been feeling it, that low hum of something coming. That quiet knowing that the season is turning, that inexplicable sense that the ground beneath your feet is shifting in your favor, even when the surface of your life has not yet fully reflected it. That feeling is not wishful thinking. That feeling is not desperation dressing itself up as hope. That feeling is spiritual intelligence. That feeling is your soul receiving information from a source that operates far above the level of human perception. And what that source is telling you is this: your time has come, your season has arrived. And the people who stood against you, who tried to stop you, who celebrated your struggles and your setbacks and your seasons of pain, they are entering something that the divine has specifically prepared for them. It is called divine timeout. And it has already begun. Type yes in the comments right now if you have been feeling this shift in the atmosphere around your life. If something has felt different lately, if the energy around you has been changing, if people who once moved freely against you seem to be hitting invisible walls, type yes, because you are not imagining it. And you deserve to know that what you are sensing is real. Let me explain what divine timeout truly is, because the world has a shallow understanding of it, and chosen ones deserve the full spiritual truth. Divine timeout is not simply karma in the popular cultural sense. It is not the universe mechanically returning negative energy to its source. It is something far more specific, far more personal, and far more divinely intentional than that. Divine timeout is when God Himself places a pause on the forward movement of a person or a group of people who have been operating in direct opposition to one of His chosen ones. It is when the divine hand that has been patiently allowing certain situations to play out, suddenly, with perfect timing, says, enough. It is when every door that was open to the people who hurt you begins to close. Every opportunity that seemed to be forming in their favor begins to dissolve. Every relationship they tried to build on the foundation of your pain begins to crack. Every plan they made that was constructed even partially on your suffering begins to fall apart from the inside. Not because you arranged it, not because you prayed for their downfall, but because God, who sees everything, who records everything, who forgets nothing, decided that the season in which they were permitted to move freely against you was finished, and the season in which you rise while they watch has now officially begun. This is not random. Nothing about where you are right now is random. The people who are currently in divine timeout in your life, the ones who are watching from a distance as things begin to shift in your favor, they were always going to end up exactly where they are. Not because your story was written in cruelty toward them, but because the divine law of sowing and reaping, the spiritual principle that governs all things visible and invisible, was always going to complete its cycle. They planted something in your life through their actions, their words, their choices, their betrayals. And that planting, whether they understood it or not, whether they believed in spiritual laws or not, set a harvest in motion that was always going to return to them. The only variable was timing. And timing, chosen one, has always belonged to God alone. You may have noticed something changing in the people who once moved against you. Maybe a relationship that seemed rock solid in their world has developed cracks you can see even from the outside. Maybe an opportunity they seem to be thriving in has quietly begun to unravel. Maybe the confidence they once had when they stood against you, that bold certainty that they were winning and you were losing, has been replaced by something quieter, something uncertain, something that looks from a distance, almost like the beginning of a reckoning they didn't see coming. You are not imagining this either. What you are observing is the opening movement of divine timeout, and it is only going to become more visible as the weeks and months ahead unfold. Type 777 in the comments if you trust that God's timing is perfect, even when it has been slow. If you have held on to your faith through a season that tested every part of you, if you have kept believing even when the evidence around you made belief feel almost irrational, type 777. Because that kind of faith, the kind that holds on without proof, the kind that keeps walking without seeing the full path ahead, is the exact kind of faith that moves the hand of God. And your faith has been moving things you haven't even seen yet. I want to talk to you about the omens, because this is the part of this message that chosen ones have been quietly waiting for someone to address directly and honestly. You have been seeing things, not in a frightening way, not in a way that disturbs you, but in a way that consistently catches your attention and leaves you with a feeling that something is trying to get through to you. Repeated numbers appearing at moments that seem too precise to be accidental. Songs that come on at the exact moment you were thinking something important. Words spoken by strangers that land with a weight that feels personal and specific to your situation. Dreams that carry an emotional intensity and a clarity that ordinary dreams simply do not have. Encounters with certain animals or natural phenomena at moments that feel charged with meaning. A persistent sense of being watched over, a feeling of being guided even when you don't know exactly where you are being guided to. These are omens. These are signs. And they are increasing in frequency because the divine is trying to communicate with you at an accelerating rate as your season of elevation draws closer. Chosen ones receive omens differently from other people. Most people can move through an entire lifetime without ever truly noticing the signs that surround them, not because the signs are not there, but because they have not been spiritually awakened to the frequency on which those signs are being transmitted. You have been awakened. Your spiritual sensitivity, the very thing that has sometimes felt like a burden in a world that doesn't understand it. The thing that makes you feel everything more deeply, that makes you notice what others walk past, that makes your intuition almost uncomfortably accurate. That sensitivity is your spiritual receiver. It is tuned to a frequency that most people cannot access. And right now, that frequency is alive with divine communication. Every omen you have been noticing is a data point in a message that God has been sending you consistently and clearly. And the message is this: I see you. I have not forgotten you. I have been working on your behalf, even in the seasons when my work was invisible to you. And what I am about to release into your life is the answer to every prayer you prayed in the dark when you didn't know if anyone was listening. Comment Amen if you believe God has been working behind the scenes of your life, even during the seasons when you couldn't see or feel it. Drop it in the comments right now, because that belief, that quiet, faithful knowing, is one of the most powerful spiritual positions a chosen one can hold, and it is the position from which every breakthrough in your story has been and will continue to be launched. Let me tell you something about winning that the world has gotten completely wrong. The world defines winning in terms of speed, in terms of who gets there first, in terms of whose highlight reel looks the most impressive at any given moment. And for a long time, maybe for years, maybe for most of your life until now, you may have measured yourself against that definition and found yourself coming up short. You may have watched people around you accumulate things faster, achieve recognition sooner, build what looked like success more quickly. And you may have sat in the quiet of your own journey, wondering why your pace felt so different, so slow, so out of step with everyone else around you. I need to say something to you about that. The way you were built to win is not the way the world wins. And that is not a disadvantage. That is a divine design feature. Chosen ones are not built for fast, fragile, easily dismantled success. They are built for deep, lasting, unshakable transformation that changes not just their own lives, but the lives of everyone their story touches. The kind of winning that God is building in you cannot be constructed quickly. It requires foundations that can only be laid through real experience, real struggle, real seasons of being refined in fire. The kind of winning that is coming for you is the kind that looks to other people like an overnight success, but is actually the product of years of quiet, faithful, often invisible preparation that most people never see and would never have had the patience or the spiritual strength to endure. And here is what makes it even more extraordinary. The people who tried to stop you, who sabotaged you, who competed against you from a place of insecurity and low intention, they unknowingly participated in your preparation. Every obstacle they placed in your path forced you to develop a strength you would not have developed on an easy road. Every door they tried to close on you redirected you to a door that was far better than the one they blocked. Every moment they tried to diminish you forced you to go deeper into your own identity and discover a worth and a power that external validation could never have given you. They thought they were defeating you. They were actually training you. They thought they were setting you back. They were actually setting you up. And now they get to watch from divine timeout as everything their interference was supposed to prevent unfolds in your life exactly as God designed. Type 1111 in the comments if you can look back at something that was done to you in pain and now see how God used it to prepare you for something greater. If a situation that was meant to destroy you actually developed something in you that you now recognize as a gift, type 1111. Because that spiritual vision, the ability to see the divine purpose inside the painful moment, is one of the clearest signs that you are walking in a level of awakening that is rare and powerful. There is something specific I need to say to chosen ones who are in the middle of watching their enemies, the people who hurt them, experience the beginning of divine timeout. Because this is a spiritually delicate place to stand, and how you stand in it matters enormously for your own continued elevation. When you begin to see the consequences of other people's actions returning to them, there is a temptation that can arise. A temptation toward satisfaction, toward a quiet celebration of their suffering, toward a feeling of vindication that edges, if you are not spiritually careful, toward something darker. And I want to speak directly to that temptation, because chosen ones who fall into it unknowingly slow down their own forward movement. The spiritually correct posture when watching divine timeout operate in the lives of those who hurt you is not celebration. It is not gloating. It is not the satisfaction of seeing them get what they deserve. The correct posture is gratitude. Deep, quiet, humbled gratitude that you serve a God who is just, a God who sees, a God who does not require you to fight your own battles because he fights them on your behalf with a precision and a completeness that your human effort could never match. When you stand in gratitude rather than satisfaction, you remain in the energetic and spiritual position of someone who is being elevated. And elevation requires clean hands and a pure heart. Not perfect hands, not flawless hands, but hands that are not stained with the energy of revenge or the low vibration of celebrating another person's pain. You were not built to be vindictive. You were built to be victorious. And those are two completely different things. Vindictiveness keeps you emotionally tethered to the people who hurt you. Victory moves you so completely forward that the people who hurt you become irrelevant, not because you forced yourself to feel that way, but because what God is building ahead of you is so magnificent, so consuming, so full of beauty and purpose and abundance, that looking backward simply stops making sense. That is where you are going. And that is why the posture of gratitude, the posture of forward-facing faith, is the most powerful position you can occupy right now. Like this video right now, as an act of faith. Not because a number on a screen matters in itself, but because choosing to engage with a message that is calling you higher, choosing to affirm truth with even a small physical action, is a declaration to your own spirit that you are choosing to receive what God is saying. And declarations matter. They shift internal energy. They seal spiritual agreements. Like this video and let it be your agreement that you are choosing the posture of gratitude and forward faith, not backward focus and vindication. Now I want to speak to you about what is actually coming, because this message is not just about what is happening to the people who hurt you. That is the background story. The foreground story, the main event, the thing that God is most focused on in this moment, is what is coming for you. And I want to paint you a picture of it in the most honest and spiritually grounded way I can, because you deserve to understand what your faithfulness through the fire has positioned you to receive. The connections that are moving toward you are not like anything you have had before. The people who are about to enter your life have been specifically prepared to meet the version of you that emerged from the fire. They carry the same depth, the same spiritual sensitivity, the same understanding of what it means to be chosen and what it costs to walk that path with integrity. These are not surface-level relationships. These are soul-level connections. The kind that feel immediately familiar even when the person is brand new to your life. The kind where conversation flows without effort because two people are operating from the same spiritual frequency. The kind that feel less like chance encounters and more like long-awaited reunions. Those connections are being orchestrated right now. The paths are being aligned. The timing is being set. And when those meetings happen, you will recognize them not as coincidence, but as confirmation. The opportunities that are moving toward you have your name written on them in a way that makes them specifically yours. Not opportunities that anyone with enough ambition could seize, but opportunities that require the exact combination of gifts, experiences, pain, wisdom, resilience, and spiritual depth that only you possess in exactly the configuration you now carry. You could not have been ready for these opportunities before now. They required everything you became through the fire. And the fire is behind you, which means the opportunities are ahead, closer than you think, already in motion, already being positioned, already carrying your name. Type 222 in the comments if you are ready. If something in your spirit just shifted reading those words. If a warmth moved through your chest when you heard that opportunities with your name on them are already moving toward you, type 222. Because that warmth is recognition. That is your spirit confirming what your mind is still learning to believe. The healing that is coming for you operates at a level that goes beyond what you have been praying for on the surface. You have been praying for specific things, for specific outcomes, for specific situations to resolve, and God is going to answer those prayers. But He is also going to do something underneath the surface answers, something deeper and more complete. Something that addresses not just the immediate wound, but the root system of pain that has been running through your life for much longer than the most recent season of difficulty. The healing that is coming goes all the way down, into old wounds, into childhood places that you may not have even fully acknowledged as wounds. Into inherited pain that was passed down to you through generations of people who never had the opportunity to heal what you are about to heal. You are not just healing for yourself, you are healing for your lineage. And that kind of healing, when it completes its work, produces a freedom in a person that is visible to everyone around them without a single word being spoken. The abundance that is moving toward you is not just financial, though financial provision is absolutely part of what God has prepared. The abundance is multidimensional. It is the abundance of peace after years of internal war. It is the abundance of clarity after years of confusion. It is the abundance of belonging after years of isolation. It is the abundance of being fully seen and fully received by people who are genuinely capable of honoring what they see. It is the abundance of waking up each morning with a sense of purpose that does not require external validation to feel real and solid and alive. That is the life that is on the other side of this current moment. That is what has been prepared. And it is waiting with a patience and a certainty that mirrors the patience and certainty you have been exercising in your faith through every hard season you survived. I want to speak now about the omens specifically because there is a layer of this message that I have not yet fully opened, and it is one of the most important parts of what you need to hear today. The omens you have been receiving are not just confirmation of your elevation. They are also warnings, not warnings of danger, but warnings of distraction. Because as chosen ones begin to rise, as the season shifts and doors begin to open and connections begin to form and opportunities begin to materialize, there is a force that always increases its activity in response. The same spiritual opposition that attacked you in your lowest season does not disappear when your season changes. It adapts, it shifts its strategy. And its new strategy for a rising chosen one is not to knock them down, it is to distract them, to pull their attention sideways, to introduce noise and confusion and false opportunities that look real but lead nowhere aligned with their purpose. To bring people who look like the soul connections God promised, but who are operating from entirely different spiritual frequencies. To create situations that feel urgent and important, but are actually designed to consume the energy and attention that belong to the purpose ahead. The omens you are receiving are partly God's way of keeping your spiritual discernment sharp and active during this transition season. They are reminders to stay awake, to keep testing what you encounter against the truth your spirit knows. To not be so hungry for the breakthrough that you accept a counterfeit version of it simply because it arrived first. God's best for your life does not require you to compromise your integrity, your peace, your values, or your spiritual alignment to receive it. Anything that does require those compromises is not from God, regardless of how convincingly it presents itself. Stay awake, keep your discernment active, and let every omen you notice be a reminder to check in with the deep knowing inside you that has been accurately guiding you all along. Type "awake" in the comments if your spiritual discernment has been sharper than ever lately. If you have been seeing through things more clearly, sensing people's intentions more accurately, feeling when something is off before anyone around you acknowledges it, type "awake." Because that sharpness is a gift being activated for a reason. And the reason is that where you are going, you will need it operating at its highest level. Let me tell you something about the people who are currently watching you from divine timeout that will shift how you carry yourself from this moment forward. They are not watching you with the same energy they once had. When they stood against you, when they competed with you, when they underestimated you and dismissed you and tried to ensure you would not succeed, they were operating from a position of perceived power. They believed they had the advantage. They believed the gap between where they were and where you were confirmed their superiority in some way. But something has changed in them since the timeout began. The certainty is gone. The confidence has shifted. And in its place is something they were not expecting to feel when they looked at your life. They were not expecting to feel what they are feeling now. which is the quiet, uncomfortable, undeniable recognition that they were wrong about you. That what they dismissed as failure was actually preparation. That what they celebrated as your loss was actually your refinement. That the gap they thought confirmed their winning was actually just the distance between where they chose to stop growing and where God was taking you without them. They are watching you now with entirely different eyes, and what they see confuses them. Because you are not what they expected you to become. You are more. You are calmer than they expected, more grounded than they expected, more at peace with yourself than they expected. The bitterness they assumed you would be carrying, the brokenness they expected to see still visible on the surface of your life, it is not there. Or it is there in a form so transformed, so alchemized by grace and faith and the quiet work of healing, that it no longer looks like damage. It looks like depth. It looks like wisdom. It looks like someone who has been through something real and come out the other side not just intact, but more fully themselves than they have ever been. And that, chosen one, is one of the greatest victories you will ever experience. Not the victory over them, the victory over every version of yourself that their actions tried to create. The bitter version, the fearful version, the diminished version. You chose not to become any of those things, and that choice is visible on you in a way that no amount of external success could manufacture. The winning that they are watching is not just circumstantial. It is not just the doors opening and the opportunities arriving and the connections forming, though all of that is real and all of that is coming. The winning they cannot look away from is who you have become, who you chose to remain, who you refuse to stop being, even when the cost of remaining yourself was enormous. That is what they are watching, and that is what they cannot explain, because they made different choices in their own pain. They chose hardness where you chose openness. They chose bitterness where you chose faith. They chose to weaponize their wounds where you chose to transform yours. And now they live with the harvest of those choices while watching you live with the harvest of yours. The contrast is not small, and it is only going to grow more pronounced as the days ahead unfold. Type "chosen" in the comments if you made a conscious choice at some point in your life to remain kind, to remain faithful, to remain yourself, even when everything around you was pushing you toward becoming someone smaller and darker and more defended. Type "chosen" because that choice is the single most defining act of a chosen one's journey. Not talent, not gifting, not even faith in the traditional sense. The choice to stay true to what God placed inside you, even when the cost was high. That choice is what sets chosen ones apart. And you made it. You keep making it, and God honors it every single time. I want to spend these final moments of this message speaking to the deepest place in you, the place beneath the faith and the spiritual language and the growing understanding of divine things, the place that is still, at its core, simply a human heart that has been through a lot, a heart that has loved people who did not love it well in return, a heart that has trusted and been betrayed, that has hoped and been disappointed, that has given and been taken from, a heart that has spent seasons questioning whether its tendency toward hope was wisdom or naivety, a heart that is still, even now, learning how to receive good things without bracing for them to be taken away. I want to speak to that heart directly, not as a spiritual teacher, not as a voice of divine authority, just as someone who understands what it is to carry what you have been carrying. You have done an extraordinary thing. You have kept that heart soft. You have kept it open. You have kept it capable of faith and love and hope, even after everything that tried to convince it that those things were dangerous. That is not a small thing. That is one of the most spiritually courageous acts a human being can perform. And God sees it. He has always seen it. And the life that is being built for you, the season that is opening in front of you, was designed specifically to honor that open, faithful, soft, and strong heart you chose to keep alive through everything. The omens will keep coming. They will get clearer. They will get more frequent. They will begin to feel less like signs that need to be interpreted and more like a conversation you are becoming fluent in. A language between you and the divine that grows richer and more specific the deeper you walk into your purpose. Pay attention to them, not with anxiety, not with obsession, but with the calm, grounded awareness of someone who knows they are being spoken to and has learned to trust the voice. Every omen is a love letter. Every sign is a confirmation. Every shift in the atmosphere is God saying, I am here, I am working. I have not forgotten a single thing I promised you, and the moment you have been faithful through every hard season for is closer than you have ever allowed yourself to believe. They are in divine timeout, and you are in divine momentum. And those two realities existing simultaneously in your life right now are not coincidence. They are the proof that the season has permanently turned. Not temporarily, not provisionally, permanently. The ground has shifted beneath your feet in a direction that is irreversible. What God has set in motion on your behalf cannot be undone by any human hand. It cannot be reversed by any force that operated against you in the previous season. The people in Timeout do not have the power to step back into your story in the capacity they once occupied. Those positions have been closed off permanently by divine design. And the positions that are opening in their place, the people, the opportunities, the chapters, the experiences that are being prepared to fill the space left by everything and everyone that was removed, they are extraordinary. They are beyond what you have allowed yourself to fully imagine. And they are coming for a chosen one who has more than earned every single one of them. Type Omen in the comments right now if you felt something shift in your spirit during this message. If something moved inside you, if something settled, if something that was uncertain in you became a little more certain. If something that was heavy in you became a little lighter. Type Omen as your declaration that you received this message, that you accept this confirmation, that you believe, maybe for the first time with your whole spirit and not just a part of it, that your season has turned and that what is coming for you is everything God promised and more. You were guided here today. You were meant to hear every word of this message at this exact moment in your life. The timing of your landing on this video is itself one of the omens. Let it register as such. Let it settle into you as the sign it is, and then carry what you received here forward into the rest of your day, your week, your season, your life. Carry it with you into every moment of uncertainty, into every moment of doubt, into every moment when the old fear tries to return and tell you that things are not really changing, that nothing is really shifting, that the breakthrough is not really coming. In those moments, return to this confirmation. You were chosen before you were born. You have been prepared through every season of your life, including the hardest ones. The people who stood against you are in divine timeout. The omens you have been seeing are real. And your season, the one you have been faithful and patient and quietly believing for, has officially, permanently, irrevocably begun. Now walk into it, without looking back, without slowing down, without apologizing for the magnitude of what God is releasing into your life. Walk into it with everything you are, because everything you are is exactly what was required for everything that is coming. And chosen one, what is coming is breathtaking. God bless you. Keep watching for the omens. They are going to keep coming, and every single one of them is going to confirm the same glorious truth. You are winning, and you have only just begun.